When observing the vastness of space, Jupiter's moon Europa appears as a peaceful marble of white ice. However, official risk assessments reveal the most hostile environment in our solar system. The crust is a deadly radioactive wasteland plunged to -160 degrees Celsius, but the true anomaly lies beneath. Telemetry data confirmed a massive ocean of liquid water trapped under 15 miles of impenetrable ice. To reach this dark abyss, aerospace engineers cannot rely on traditional mechanics. Instead, NASA is developing an extreme solution. They are designing a nuclear machine engineered to melt straight through the frozen crust. As humanity prepares to pierce this corner of the universe, what this radioactive descent uncovers will change everything. To fully comprehend the true nature of Europa, one must first look at its host. Jupiter is not merely a gas giant. It operates as a colossal, naturally occurring particle accelerator. Its monstrous magnetic field captures charged particles and accelerates them to near the speed of light, unleashing a cosmic horror show upon everything within its orbital domain. Europa travels directly through the heart of this destructive firing line. The surface of the moon is subjected to relentless radiation, enduring a continuous, brutal bombardment so severe that any exposed biological material would be instantly destroyed. However, within this terrifying onslaught of lethal energy, astrophysics reveals a profound paradox. The very force that appears to eradicate life is the exact mechanism required to sustain it. When high-energy particles from Jupiter violently strike the frozen crust of Europa, they do not just scorch the surface, they fundamentally alter its molecular structure. This violent interaction is defined by the scientific process known as radiolysis. As the intense radiation smashes into the solid surface, it physically tears apart the water molecules bound within the deep ice. The chemical bonds shatter instantly. Hydrogen, being the lightest element in the universe, is easily stripped away by the weak gravity of the moon and lost forever to the empty void of space. But the heavier elements remain trapped. What is left behind is a highly reactive, toxic layer of pure oxygen and hydrogen peroxide, completely coating the frozen exterior. If these reactive elements simply remained on the surface, Europa would be nothing more than a sterile, irradiated wasteland. But the crust of this moon is a dynamic, shifting entity. The gravitational pull from Jupiter creates immense tidal friction, causing the ice to crack, shift, and collide in a violent, ongoing display of ice tectonics. Massive slabs of the frozen exterior are constantly pushed downward, subducting deep into the interior of the moon. Through this relentless planetary churning, the irradiated surface ice, heavily saturated with oxygen and highly reactive hydrogen peroxide, is forcefully dragged down into the pitch-black depths. As these toxic, frozen chunks slowly melt into the hidden waters below, they deliver a massive payload of chemical energy directly into the lightless abyss. In the deep oceans of Earth, biological ecosystems heavily rely on the energy of the sun, but in the crushing darkness of Europa, sunlight is completely absent. Instead, the relentless radiation of Jupiter provides the ultimate substitute. The steady mechanical supply of surface oxidants transforms the entire abyssal sea into a colossal chemical battery. The terrifying forces above act as a cosmic engine, continuously feeding the dark ocean below with the exact chemical fuel required to ignite and sustain biological processes. Yet, understanding this toxic chemical cycle was only the first step. To prove the existence of an abyssal ocean, humanity had to face a physical barrier that defied all modern engineering. When discussing the exploration of Europa, a common public misconception frequently surfaces. Many assume that reaching the hidden ocean simply requires landing a probe equipped with a heavy drill, operating somewhat similar to expeditions penetrating deep frozen lakes on Earth. The brutal reality of astrophysics, however, violently shatters this naive assumption entirely. The frozen exterior of this moon is not a thin, fragile crust. Telemetry data has confirmed that the global ice shell is a staggering 15 miles thick. To truly comprehend this terrifying and oppressive scale, one must take the soaring peak of Mount Everest and stack it directly on top of the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench. Even then, that combined colossal measurement barely matches the sheer vertical depth of the frozen vault, isolating the dark, alien ocean below. Understanding the immense thickness is only half of the terrifying equation. The surface temperature plunges to minus 160 degrees Celsius. In this extreme thermal environment, water ice completely ceases to behave like the frozen substance found anywhere on our home planet. The extreme cold compresses the molecular structure until it hardens, making its physical integrity mimic solid granite. Any attempt to penetrate this dense layer using traditional mechanical drilling is an absolute, undeniable engineering impossibility. If a conventional titanium or metal drill bit were to forcefully strike the surface, the extreme deep frozen vacuum would cause the advanced alloys to become catastrophically brittle. The sheer mechanical friction generated against the granite-hard ice would violently snap the mechanism almost instantly. Furthermore, there is absolutely no fluid lubrication that can function in such a merciless, frozen void. Beyond the failure of materials, the sheer logistics of spaceflight render traditional mechanics utterly useless. To mechanically drill through 15 miles of solid rock-hard ice, humanity would need to construct and transport a drilling rig of an incomprehensible, monumental scale. Currently, there is absolutely no launch vehicle on Earth capable of lifting such a massive, heavy payload into orbit. Even the most powerful and advanced modern rockets, including the heavy lift systems engineered by SpaceX, are fundamentally incapable of carrying the thousands of tons of steel, structural supports, and heavy machinery required for a mechanical operation to the outer solar system. We are entirely, profoundly powerless against this celestial fortress using the familiar tools of terrestrial engineering. The sheer scale of the universe effortlessly dwarfs our greatest mechanical achievements. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Am I the only one who finds this insurmountable physical barrier deeply unsettling? Faced with an impenetrable vault of deep frozen granite, aerospace engineers were forced to abandon traditional mechanics and turn towards something far more extreme: controlled nuclear descent. To bypass the insurmountable barrier of 15 miles of deep frozen rock-hard ice, aerospace engineers at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration had to completely rethink the fundamental mechanics of interplanetary penetration. When physical force is rendered entirely obsolete by extreme temperatures, the only viable solution relies on raw, concentrated thermal energy. Official design profiles reveal a highly specialized, conceptual vehicle known as a cryobot, functioning essentially as a nuclear-powered submarine designed for solid matter. Instead of utilizing spinning mechanical blades or fragile titanium drills, this heavily armored cylindrical machine is engineered to carry a miniaturized nuclear reactor, specifically relying on a radioisotope thermoelectric generator. Placed directly onto the completely barren exterior, fully exposed to the deadly vacuum of space, the internal radioactive core begins its critical operation. The concept is brutally simple. It does not dig, and it does not excavate. It simply generates an extreme, localized output of searing heat. The metal hull of the cryobot reaches blistering temperatures, pressing its immense, heavy mass directly against the minus 160-degree surface. Through sheer thermal superiority, the rock-hard crust directly beneath the machine begins to yield, slowly transforming from impenetrable solid ice back into liquid water. Gravity dictates the rest of this merciless journey. As the ice directly beneath the glowing hull continues to melt, the heavy nuclear vehicle slowly sinks downward into the newly formed cavity. However, this is precisely where the physical operational reality becomes profoundly disturbing. As the cylindrical vehicle drops deeper into the planetary crust, the liquid water it leaves in its wake does not remain in a fluid state. The surrounding geological environment is completely devoid of ambient heat. Within mere moments, the surrounding minus 160-degree cold violently invades the meltwater resting above the probe. The water instantly freezes solid again. The planetary ice effectively heals its own wound, completely closing the vertical tunnel behind the descending probe. There is no structural tether connecting this machine to the surface above. There is no physical line of communication trailing behind it to relay telemetry, and absolutely no mechanical system designed for an abort or retrieval. Once the ice refreezes above the metal hull, the cryobot is entirely entombed within a dense, crushing vault of frozen material. It becomes totally cut off from the entire known universe, sealed forever beneath thousands of tons of impenetrable mass. This self-burying nuclear tomb is designed to operate in total, suffocating isolation for countless months, perhaps even years. It faces an agonizingly slow, relentless process of continuously melting the floor below it, while the ceiling above hardens instantly into an inescapable, crushing prison. Its singular, ultimate objective is to steadily burn its way through 15 vertical miles of absolute darkness to breach the final barrier between the inner crust and the hidden waters. When it finally melts through the very last layer of the lower ice shelf, the thermal machine will abruptly run out of solid ground. It will plunge directly into the pitch-black abyss, falling freely into a completely unexplored alien sea that plunges 100 kilometers deep. While the concept of a nuclear submarine melting its way into the dark ocean remains a future endeavor, a shocking observation from the Hubble Space Telescope revealed that the Moon was already handing us its deepest secrets. While the concept of a nuclear submarine melting its way into the dark ocean remains a future endeavor, a shocking observation from the Hubble Space Telescope revealed that the Moon was already handing us its deepest secrets. For decades, the scientific community assumed that accessing the hidden waters absolutely required breaching the impenetrable 15-mile crust. However, monumental breakthroughs in modern astronomy and astrophysics completely rewrote this daunting narrative. In the years 2012 and 2016, researchers analyzing ultraviolet data from the Hubble Space Telescope noticed something entirely unexpected occurring near the southern hemisphere of the frozen Moon. The transmitted data indicated transient anomalies silhouetted against the bright background of Jupiter. These readings were not mere sensor glitches. They were towering plumes of liquid water and frozen vapor. These massive geysers were actively erupting from the deep hidden ocean, violently breaking through the thick frozen surface and shooting directly into the vacuum of space. The sheer physical scale of these eruptions is absolutely staggering. Telemetric readings confirmed that the water vapor was being blasted up to 160 kilometers high. These plumes reach an altitude significantly higher than the orbital path of some lower Earth satellites, launching thousands of tons of pristine subsurface water far above the deadly radiation zones. Europa is, quite literally, bleeding its internal ocean out into the open cosmos. This phenomenon represents one of the most critical new discoveries in the history of planetary exploration. The realization that the Moon is actively venting its abyssal contents sent shockwaves through NASA. The strategic implications are profoundly liberating. Humanity does not necessarily need to build heavy mechanical drilling rigs or deploy self-burying nuclear reactors right away to sample the alien waters. The dark ocean is voluntarily bringing itself up to us. Because the gravitational pull of the Moon is incredibly weak, much of this ejected material falls back down, coating the icy surface in fresh chemical signatures. But far more importantly, a properly equipped robotic spacecraft does not even need to attempt a dangerous landing. An advanced orbital probe can simply fly at high velocities directly through these towering columns of water vapor. By passing right through the active eruptions, specialized chemical instruments can capture and analyze ancient ocean sediment and complex organic molecules, all while remaining safely in orbit. This breathtaking revelation fundamentally altered NASA's strategic approach, setting the stage for one of the most expensive and specialized machines ever constructed for the outer solar system. When the public hears about a $5 billion expedition to a watery moon, a profound misconception inevitably takes hold. Any highly produced space documentary focusing on the outer planets often hypes the anticipation of discovering biological entities. However, science explained in its most rigorous, factual form demands a harsh correction of this romanticized narrative. The Europa Clipper, despite its astronomical price tag and highly advanced technology, is explicitly not a life detection mission. The popular expectation of capturing photographic evidence of alien life, such as complex organisms swimming beneath the ice, is completely false. The spacecraft carries no biological microscopes, no genetic sequencers, and absolutely no mechanisms designed to capture or incubate living microbes. The scientific community has stated clearly that confirming direct biological signatures from a high-velocity orbital trajectory is currently a mechanical and physical impossibility. Instead of searching for living creatures, the true, pragmatic objective of this heavily armored orbital probe is to definitively determine habitability. The spacecraft is engineered solely to evaluate whether this hostile moon possesses the exact physical and chemical environments required to sustain biological processes. To achieve this unprecedented planetary survey, aerospace engineers equipped the probe with a massive, highly sophisticated suite of dedicated scientific instruments. The most critical component is an advanced ice-penetrating radar system specifically designed to look straight through the frozen crust. As the spacecraft executes dozens of highly elliptical, radiation-dodging flybys, this radar will continuously fire intense radio waves down into the deep ice. The returning signal echoes will allow researchers to construct a detailed three-dimensional map of the frozen vault. Specifically, planetary geologists are hunting for perched lakes. These are enormous isolated pockets of liquid water trapped securely within the thick ice shell itself, existing completely separated from the main abyssal ocean below. Simultaneously, the mission focuses on executing a rigorous, exhaustive chemical census. For any extraterrestrial environment to be considered truly habitable, it must contain a very specific recipe of elemental ingredients. As the orbital machine flies directly through the towering plumes of ejected water vapor and meticulously scans the heavily irradiated surface ice, its advanced spectrometers will hunt for the 6 fundamental building blocks of biological chemistry. These essential elements are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. Without this precise chemical foundation, biological evolution remains fundamentally impossible, regardless of the sheer volume of liquid water hidden beneath the surface. The meticulous detection and mapping of these critical elements will finally confirm if this frozen sphere is merely a sterile, irradiated wasteland or a deeply fertile planetary laboratory. According to official NASA data, identifying these basic chemical building blocks is crucial, but the ultimate prize lies far deeper, at the very bottom of the crushing, lightless abyss. Descending past the thick, icy armor reveals a profound mystery that fundamentally challenges our understanding of planetary geology. The liquid water concealed beneath the frozen crust of Europa does not merely constitute a shallow subterranean lake. Telemetry and magnetic field data strongly indicate a global ocean plunging to a staggering depth of 100 kilometers. To grasp this terrifying scale, this alien abyss is exactly 10 times deeper than the Mariana Trench, the most extreme and crushing environment found on Earth. In this abyssal realm, sunlight is entirely non-existent. The environment is consumed by absolute darkness, a pitch-black void where solar energy has never penetrated. Logically, an ocean located this far from the sun should be frozen solid to its very core. However, the liquid state is maintained by a brutal mechanical process known as tidal heating. Jupiter is a gravitational monster. As the small moon follows its elliptical orbit, the immense gravitational pull of the gas giant continuously stretches and squeezes the rocky core of Europa. This relentless physical distortion generates colossal internal friction, releasing immense thermal energy directly into the lightless water. This constant geological agony creates something extraordinary at the very bottom of the alien sea. Deep along the rocky seafloor, under millions of tons of crushing hydrostatic pressure, astrobiologists suspect the existence of active hydrothermal vents. Similar to the black smokers found in the deepest, most hostile trenches of our own planet, these geological fractures violently expel searing heat and rich chemical minerals directly into the freezing water. In the complete absence of solar radiation, these volcanic structures could serve as the ultimate biological engines. They provide the necessary chemical synthesis to support entirely alien food chains thriving independently of the sun. The relentless radiation from above provides the oxidants, while the fiery core below provides the fuel, creating a perfect, lightless trap for biological evolution. As our advanced instruments prepare to scan these uncharted depths, humanity is standing on the absolute edge of the horizon of the unknown, staring into a terrifying abyss that might already be staring back. The journey to this frozen moon completely redefines our understanding of planetary science. We have traversed from a deadly radioactive wasteland on the surface, past the concept of permanently entombed nuclear machines melting through 15 miles of solid rock-hard ice, and finally descended into a dark, lightless ocean that actively erupts the fundamental building blocks of biology into the void. This hostile celestial body teaches humanity a profound lesson. Every terrifying abyss and seemingly insurmountable physical barrier in deep space is never a final dead end. It is simply a massive new door waiting to be unlocked by advanced engineering and relentless curiosity. When we look at these extreme, deadly environments, we realize that our scientific models must constantly evolve to match the sheer scale of reality. The universe isn't broken. Our map of it is just incomplete. What do you think? Does this change how you see our place in the cosmos? I'll keep exploring if there's more to uncover. Thanks for watching.